So I just got off the phone with a lady who's quitting her job, making $500,000 a year to go start a tree trimming franchise. Is that the craziest thing you've heard or what? And so I want to talk about why she's quitting her job, why franchising, and most importantly, her path to not only replace the money she was making, but to hit 7 figures or more. And so she'd been in corporate America her entire life, worked up the corporate ladder, and for many years, she got a lot of fulfillment out of, won awards, had a lot of impact, was able to see the results. But as time went on, it became less and less impactful. And she'd see a problem, she'd want to try to fix it, but there were so many different checks and balances where she couldn't really make progress. And while, the money was good, she wasn't getting fulfilled. And it was just a matter of waking up every day and just kind of getting bored of what you're doing. And she said, I could do this for another 4 or 5 years. I'll be 50 years old by then, and I could retire, but then what am I going to do? I'm going to grind it out and then start the next chapter of my life. And she decided, well, why not now? If I'm going to quit in 5 years because I hate it, I should just start now. And I think that's an awesome thing to think of is we go through life, the whole point of making money is to live the life that we want to live. And even if you're making all the money in the world, if you're not happy, what's the point? And so, it's really good to try to figure out what is the thing that is going to make you happy and pursue that. And so for her, it is I want to get back to my roots in operations. I want to get kind of down and dirty with a business where I can go out and I can, have a direct impact. I can hire the people, I can sell the jobs, I can manage them. I can, at the end of the day, see the work that I produced. And I think that's awesome. I think that's great for her. I think that's great for this country to have people who want to go out and they're willing to do the work and do tough things in order to make a great business, employ a lot of people, serve their communities. And so I think that's awesome. So why franchising? So, she started down this path, I want to say in October. She joined Cody Sanchez's mastermind about buying a business, and that was she was all about. I want to find an existing business that I can buy. It's already got a team in place with cash flow, and had no problem getting debt with her income and net worth, and make it happen. But the problem is that is so competitive, and she's competing against private equity companies, businesses with a lot more experience, businesses that had more synergies, so they're able to pay more for those deals. And it was just really, really hard to find a deal that made sense. And this is fairly common. I talked to a lot of people who struggle with that. And after a year or 2 years or whatever it is, they just want to get in the game. And they're I am so tired of writing all these LOIs and getting analysis paralysis. And I want to get into the game and play. And she was aware of franchising like everybody is, but had this misconception that it's just McDonald's, it's fast food. And I don't want to have a bunch of employees. I don't want to be open 7 days a week. And she talked to somebody who owned some franchises, and they said, that is true, but it's also true that you could own a small business that you could go and you can work it every day, and you have all the benefits of a franchise, which is the proven playbook, support network of other franchisees, this knowledge base that turns decades of information into days for you, and you don't have to figure it all yourself. It's basically a business that you own with the wrapper of a brand and support and training, which is the franchise. Obviously there's rules you have to follow, but for most people who are risk averse and say, just show me the playbook and I'll go out and do it, then franchising can be a really good option. It's been for me, I own 40 units across multiple brands, multiple states now. We'll do $50 million in revenue this year. And I've been able to grow it so fast because it's a franchise. I would not be anywhere near the size today if it wasn't a franchise. Because once you learn the process, you're able to rinse and repeat it. And so once she had that conversation with a friend, the light bulb went off and said, you're right, I have been discriminating against franchises and I need to go back and start looking at them. And so she started looking at lots of different ones. She looked at senior care, she looked at pet care, she looked at B2B services, home services. She knew she didn't want retail. And eventually, through the help of my team, she found a tree service company and just absolutely loved it. Tree service in many cases is a need, not a want. There is recurring revenue for people that do maintenance. There's lots of great tax benefits for buying equipment. it's the type of business where you can go out there and you can build reputations, you can do marketing, like there's lots of ways to get customers, you can serve business and residential. Obviously it's highly competitive, but it's competitive because there's a lot of demand that is going to be around forever. Like AI is not coming to replace our tree trimmers anytime soon. And so once she found that business that kind of checked a lot of her boxes, it kind of gave her that confidence and able to start to move forward. And I think it's like a big lesson here is that for anyone looking to buy a franchise, you got to get crystal clear on the exact type of franchise you want to buy. And I'm not saying like the brand, but it's like the business model. Like, do you want something that is retail, or do you want something that's mobile where you go to the customers? Do you want something that requires very high skilled labor, such as nurses or something in like the medical field, or even auto repair? Like we work with very high skilled mechanics. Or do you want something that is a lot simpler? You could get into junk removal or dog waste pickup, or things that like you could hire anybody within a couple days, like they're good to go. She chose something in the middle that does require some skills in terms of arborists and people who are going to climb up and cut some trees, but it is not the thing where it's going to take years and years to learn. Like she'll be able to hire people, get them on their training path, and they'll be good to go. Do you want something that is 7 days a week, or do you want something that is like kind of Monday through Friday? Do you want something that has 24/7 emergency response, like restoration? Like for some people, that's awesome because you make a lot of money doing that. For other people, they're like, nah, like when I go home, like I kind of want to be done with phone calls, right? And so you really want to get a lot of clarity around that. And she eventually got that through working with some of the tools that we provide, plus just talking to so many different business owners and doing a ton of due diligence, which is definitely the way to do it. And so she got that. She decided franchise me. She found the thing and met the team, loved everybody, went through all the due diligence, got an amazing territory, and is super excited. And so that leads me to the third part of this is, how is she going to make $500,000 in this business to start? But more importantly, how does she have a path to make $1 million or more? And here's the key about franchising is that it is very hard in the beginning because you have to pretty much wear every hat. And as much as you have the franchisor to help you, provide you tools and training, and like they give you the thing and they're like, here you go, someone still needs to go and build the business. Someone needs to take all those instructions and actually build the structure and build the relationships and become known. And it's a ton of work in the beginning, but once you kind of cross that barrier and you build your team, and you start to establish the relationships and you really get to know things, then you can start to expand. You can buy more territories, you can buy independent businesses that you can roll up into your brand, and things become a lot easier. And it really becomes like this rinse and repeat as you continue to grow, you continue to add more salespeople, add more, in her case it'd be arborists, buy more equipment. You have your logistics guy who can manage the team, you have salespeople, and you continue to kind of build out this infrastructure. And you don't have to figure out any of it on your own, because there's gonna be people at the brand, people throughout the network who have a lot of different knowledge out there, and everybody's coming together to solve the same problem. Versus if she went out and started her own tree company, like she'd be totally on her own. She'd be on YouTube and AI and Reddit and like try to figure out these different things. There's like, you join a franchise, you've got a whole bunch of people who are working together to solve the problem, and that speeds up the money-making process a lot. And so she expects that first year to basically not make any money, to reinvest it all into building her team, into marketing, and hopefully making something, but with the full expectation that she is going to work 2 times as much and make very little compared to what she was doing. And then by the second year, hopefully we've gone through some of those growing pains, we've got that core kind of team established, and her cash flow goal is to make somewhere around 100 to maybe 125, something in that range by the second year. By the third year, hopefully to hit 200 to 250. By the fourth year, kind of hit the 300 to 400, and by the fifth year, over $500,000. That is her initial goals. I'm not going to call them projections because, calling them projections, it's impossible to project what a new thing is going to do, but those are really good goals. And then she backed into the business has about a 20% net margin once it's mature. And so she has to do about $2.5 million of sales in order to generate about $500,000 in revenue. And so she believes by year 5, she should be able to hit that based on her projections. But then once she does that, once she's able to kind of get that initial territory up and running as teams, and maybe she's hitting that $2.5 million in revenue and 500K in profit, it may seem insurmountable now because you don't know anything, right? But once you hit that point, to say, how do I go from 2.5 to 5 million is going to be very clear. She's going to know exactly what I need to do. She's going to know, like, this is the bottleneck I have, whether it's sales, whether it's operations, whether it's admin, and she's able to then direct her resources in order to continue to grow the business. And so it's very possible that she could turn that 2.5 million into 5 million into then potentially $10 million and have a business making over $2 million a year within the next 7 years, 8 years, 10 years. I mean, I've built a company that does $50 million in 8 years, starting with 2 locations in 2016 and continue to compound the profits. This is like one of the funniest things I think people do is, they take money out of the business and then they go invest in the stock market. They invest in like crypto, or they buy real estate or whatever it is, and they're getting like a 10, 15% return a year. I mean, I've bought franchises that have gotten me an 800% return on a deal. And I mean, to be honest, I mean, my entire franchise business was funded with $130,000, and the rest has been compounded, plus seller financing, plus some bank debt, plus, tax incentives, right? There's like a lot of other ways, but from a capital perspective, there is no better investment than your own business. So even if she's making $500,000 a year, if she's able to take that money and confidently reinvest it into hiring people, buying more equipment, buying more franchises, rolling up other people, like, she is going to get a ridiculous amount of return on that capital, way more than if she put it in the stock market or anything else. And so I'm super excited to watch her on her journey as she continues to kind of get this thing going and building the business. And so if you enjoyed this, subscribe to the channel. I share insider secrets on building an 8-figure franchise business. I also write a newsletter every single week sharing more insider secrets, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.